Welcome to another powerful conversation in the Hidden to Heard series, where we honor the untold and beautifully real stories of women who lead from the heart. Today, I'm truly excited to welcome Yinka Ewuola, whose work is rooted in soulful business strategy, and her leadership style I know will speak directly to your soul. Yinka, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I'm so excited to have this conversation. So thank you so much.
And I am so pleased that you could join working with inspired and ambitious women around the world wanting to have their all on their own terms. As a unique business leader, Yinka founded Calla Success Systems to support busy and ambitious women to shine, sparkle, build and lead thriving and profitable businesses while living nourishing and inspiring lives. She's now focused on changing the narrative around disadvantage, around the paradigm of women building businesses, and with her passion for a holistic approach to improvement and success. Yinka works with women to focus on what moves the needle and makes the most impact for their businesses. Oh, I'm excited to dive straight into this. And it's incredible see how your story has just grown and expanded out into such a way that generally you have touched so many lives of women all over the world. And I'm going to just start by diving in straight to the questions. So I'm going to repeat myself a little bit here. But Yinka, as your work has touched so many women across the world who are building and leading with courage. Can you share a moment in your own journey when you first realized the power of your story?
Yes. So many of the points in my journey have really reminded me of the power of not only my story, but the ownership of my story. Because while
Mm,
we all have a story, we spend a lot of time denying, minimizing, redacting, and finessing our story. But there were many years where I was supporting my mum in her business. So, my story
yes,
is that I came into business to help my mum when she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
yes.
And I came from a finance background. Was a first class economics degree student. I was like, how hard can it possibly be? Which can only be described as famous, last, ridiculous words. Because knowing about finance and coming from the corporate world and thinking that therefore small business life, business owning, business building, and entrepreneurship was going to be easy, is nothing short of turning up to army basic training in like sunglasses and flip flops.
Yes.
It's a ridiculous expectation. Um, and the thing is that period was harrowing on so many levels. So my mum is sick. She has a very virulent strain of breast cancer. We don't have breast cancer in our history or family. And so we have real concerns. We don't know if she's
Yeah,
going to live or die.
yeah. Hmm.
She isn't even so focused on trying to deal with cancer because she's still trying to keep the lights on and the mortgage paid and
Yeah,
between her and my father paying their bills. And that particular season was very, very distressing. And I know that I worked so hard, and there are so many seeds of that time that have
yeah,
flourished and bloomed into the business I have today. But you will not believe that for many years, I didn't think that I really had the right to talk about running a business um, or business growth or entrepreneurship because I was like, well, I'm just helping my mum in her business. Now, I am a director
yeah.
of the business. I was, from its inception, 23 years ago.
Mm,
So I've been in this game a long time. But because I didn't have the traditional rags to riches, founder bootstrapper, late
yeah,
night, glow up unicorn story, I didn't think I had anything of value to share. And I didn't think that I was a real entrepreneur because I hadn't come into it in a traditional way. And so it was when I then began my own business and I was hearing the same stories, the same concerns, that I began to realize that actually I need to own everything that I went through that season, all of the things
Yes.
I became to understood about what was important about business, and the opportunity that that gives me in order to really contribute in a brand new way to the narrative around building businesses in general, but also for women specifically. And so that specific point really has come full circle in a number of ways. I've had clients of mine who have had, also cancer diagnoses, they've had
Yeah.
bereavements, they've had losses. And so to be able to take what happened in my experience when it was me as the client and as the holder, to now being able to pay forward the knowledge, the skills, the space and the grace that I had in those moments. Honestly, I get chills and emotional just thinking about it now,
Yeah.
to be able to say to clients who are getting their own diagnoses, don't worry, I know this, B, I can help you, and C, actually, if you need grace periods or adaptations, I am totally here for that, has been such a gift and such an honor to be able to turn the pain of those days into purpose in these days.
Yeah, beautiful. I love I love your answer. I love how layered it was, how you told the story, your story, your mum's story, and really how it's allowed you to integrate and align with the work that you find yourself doing now. And it is a full 360-degree circle. And I just think it's so interesting, isn't it? How when we're open and honest with our own story, that we then call in those people that really need us to hold them in those moments where they
So,
can easily tell themselves that nobody really gets them because nobody else around them has experienced this. And when they open themselves up, there you are with that
100%.
experience, sharing that.
100%.
So it's beautiful. Thank you. And I guess my next question, kind of leads me on to, like, have there been times in your life or business where when you felt hidden, whether through self-doubt or societal expectations or circumstance, and like what shifted for you that allowed your voice to be fully heard?
So the very short answer is yes. There are many times when I felt that my voice is hidden. The confession I have is that is almost always been by my own design.
Yeah.
Um, I, as someone who is very introverted, am much more comfortable being hidden and quiet and alone and not having to talk to people and not having to engage with people. And so while there are absolutely, self-doubt, societal expectations, being underestimated, all of those things, I'm also really clear that actually the thing that shifts every time my voice really gets heard, is me. Is me changing how I see myself, me changing the narrative and self-perception, me deciding a different story about the woman I see when I look in the mirror. That is the ultimate transformation that causes me to shift from being hidden to not just being heard, but actually being enabling others to also be seen and heard in my story too. And so there are definitely self-doubts and there are definitely societal expectations, but I can't blame any of them more than I can accept responsibility myself, because it is in my own power and my own crafting and creation that my voice, my story, is able to be unveiled.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And I think what's really interesting about your answer and what you said is, as entrepreneurs, we can be so hard on ourselves. It's like, it's the self-doubt, it's the self-voice, and then there's a moment when we actually just kind of have to stop and ask ourselves, what are we really telling ourselves? And so I guess, again, with you, that gets to be part of the work that you do when you're working with your incredible clients. So we know that leadership often comes with invisible pressures. Like we might be feeling stuff inside, but on the outside, it's like, hey, how you doing? What a great day it is. But I'm just interested. Can you take us into a vulnerable chapter of your leadership journey where you perhaps questioned yourself? So it's kind of leading on from what you've just spoken about, but where you've perhaps questioned yourself, and then just tell us how you navigated through that time.
Great question. I think one of the most vulnerable parts of my leadership journey was deciding to actually begin working in my own business in the first place.
Yeah.
So my business, officially, according to official records at Company's House, is 10 years old. But I've only been trading for 5. And the reason I've
Okay.
only been trading for 5 is because I had the idea, I claimed the name. The name was really important and significant to me, and I wanted to work on my business. But there was always another thing that was needed, another challenge. A child needed this, a husband needed that, a mum needed this, the other business needed that. So I really wanted to ensure that everybody had what they needed, and kept finding that when I did that, there was never anything left for me. And so I had to take the decision to remind myself that I would either have to keep deciding between, one day and day one. And I
Yeah.
really declared that day one, there were the context of me starting my business is, lockdown and everything that was happening at that time. But I realized, going to Company's House 5 years to return dormant accounts was
Yes.
I felt such shame. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so underwhelming. And I could not stand that feeling. I just couldn't stand it. And the fact was that I wasn't running the business I wanted, but I was running so many other things. I was running a household, I was running another
Yes.
business,
Yeah.
I was everything to everyone else, but I wasn't really much to me.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the thing that had to shift was making the decision to stop pleasing everyone else and leaving myself unhappy and displeased.
Yeah.
And so that was really the shift where, and I am that kind of person where I wake up one morning and make a decision and things are different from that day on. I am that person. But I
Yes.
did. I was like, you know, I'm coming up to a big birthday. I, I was meant to be a millionaire 10 years ago. I'm
Yeah.
not even nearly a millionaire and it's 10 years later. What are you doing? And
Yeah.
so I really, um, I made a decision that I was going to need to deal with that on a financial front. And then I realized that having my own business was going to be one of the vehicles for wealth creation. And then
Yeah.
I just made that really non-negotiable.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so just thinking about that, your first, let's say, Company's House return. So this is year 6, right? How did you feel? Because a lot of what we're talking about, yes, we can talk theoretically about it, but how did you feel energetically when you actually you took from being dormant to making that decision to lead your own business and set your returns? Like, how did that feel for you?
Such a beautiful experience because I set the goal. I mean, I set the target to go 6 figures in the first year, which I did.
Yes,
And I set that target against the backdrop of knowing the statistics around female business ownership and the fact that less than 10% of UK-based female-led businesses ever make 6 figures, let alone in the first year.
yeah,
So it was powerful and it was meaningful, and I also knew that it was just the beginning. Like truly,
yeah,
it I was very clear in my mind that I have many skills and I've been graced to I'm good at making money. And I'm not only am I
Yeah.
good at making it for myself, but I am excellent at helping other women make money. And I know that the world is better the more money that women have. And so I really anchored in the belief that I have that I'm blessed to be a blessing. And I really anchored in the fact that if I don't use what I have to make sure that others are blessed as well, then
Yeah.
that is an underselling of the value of the tools and the skills and the gift that I've been given. The gift that I have isn't just for me.
Yeah.
It, it,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
it's a bizarre notion to me that I should be blessed only for my own benefit.
Mm.
Like, you can just
Yeah.
drop that in my lap. There's no need for any kind of kerfuffle or hassle on that front. And so I just felt so strongly about the importance of me having a broader impact in an area that I know that I am very good at. And so I really wanted to, first of all, prove it to myself. And it's
Yes.
funny because six figures in the first year of business was the first stat I saw. So that
Yeah.
was the first, but the thing was that then I saw the stats about seven-figure business ownership, and I was like, that not only is the goal, but when, I fulfill on my vision to help 10,000 women to build seven-figure businesses, that is a fundamental shift across the world
Yeah.
around around female wealth, around female business ownership, and around the levers of power that are attached to that wealth shift. And yeah, I was like, I'm the person to do it. If it is to be, it is up to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you're well on your way to that. You're very focused on your outcomes, but focused in a way that is holistic and that is always there to really help other women shine when there are times when they don't even feel they have the right to shine.
100%. And I think, setting last year, we set the target to hit our seven figures. We agreed seven figures in sales last year, which I am beyond excited about. But it's
Yes.
it's so much more about what I've seen in my client, like seeing my clients. We started together, and they came to me and they were like, "Oh, I wish I could create 5K per month in my business." And now that incredible woman runs a multi six figure business,
Yeah.
having clients
Yeah.
coming to me saying, I really want to go seven figures, or I want seven figures to be easy,
Yes.
and them having, increased ease, seven figure quarters, and to really create a paradigm of rich and rested, which
Yeah.
is the fundamentals of the way that I want to the way that I really want women to create wealth, and those that are aligned with my values. I'm not interested in hustle and hassle, grit and
Yeah.
grind, because that
Yeah.
isn't. Not only is it not creating holistic wealth, it's actually creating significant problem for both men and women.
Yeah.
But also, women
Yeah.
have invisible labor. We have the vast majority of social caring responsibilities, and
Yes.
those invisible labors as well. So for me, rich and rested is the underpinning of the ethos of how I want to build wealth, and I want to call women who want to build wealth in that way alongside me.
Yeah. Beautiful. And my last question is for the women listening who are still finding the courage to really bring their authentic voice forward. What is one truth or practice that has helped you stand firm in the foundation of who you're becoming, like who you are now? Like what little truth or practice could you share with for these women that are listening to you right now?
My truth is the remembering that I am the price. And what that means to me is that in my own paradigm of thought, and everyone can ascribe it in terms of their own kind of paradigms and beliefs, but for me, God is source and money
Yeah.
is resource.
Yeah.
And it's about making sure that you never confuse the two,
Yeah.
because what we tend to do is to think that money is source and then like God, spirit, whatever it is you believe, is resource. And you run to resource when you're in trouble, or
Yeah.
rather than remembering that everything comes from there. But
Yeah.
because I believe God is source, I am who I believe myself to be as ordained by him. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
removes, or at least that quiets, the fear of other people's opinions, that the fear of other people's likes, dislikes, preferences,
Sure.
all of those kinds
Yeah.
of things. I'm not as easily swayed as many probably would like me to be, because that isn't the things that are causing me to make the decisions.
Yeah.
And so, on the basis of that truth, my practice is around reminding myself who I truly am.
Yeah.
So I often say in my spaces that I am is the most powerful phrase in the world. And so
Mm-hmm.
what comes next matters massively. And it is really important that you don't put things after the statement I am that you do not want to own. And it's really interesting when you walk around the world, you listen to people put all sorts of wild things after the words I am. It is
Yes.
wild to my life. But in my own personal practice, not only am
Yeah.
I very careful about what I say I am, but I remind myself of the truth of who I am on an ongoing basis. So whether that's through affirmation, whether that is through
Mm-hmm.
micro breaks, whether that is, verbally expressing it, physically writing it down,
Yeah.
continually reminding myself of the truth of myself is a powerful and really transformative practice, that not only rewires your neural pathways, lifts and changes your state,
Yeah.
but really serves as a form of mental nutrition. It's in a world that is
Mm-hmm.
constantly trying to feed you junk food, but also change your self-perception.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And the words that have come to me after what you've just shared, and thank you, is when you remember who you are, that's your medicine,
100%.
So oh, Yinka, I knew this was going to be incredible.
You're
Thank you
incredible.
so much.
There's
Yeah.
such great questions. Thank you so much for having me.
No, absolutely. And before you go, please share, where can people find you on your socials?
Absolutely. So yeah, socials, LinkedIn is my primary platform. I'm also over on Instagram, Facebook, X and TikTok, or they can drop me an email at hello@callasuccess.com.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I want to say thank you so much for always just being you, standing in your truth, sharing from your heart, and continuing with this incredible work that you are releasing across the world as we speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abby. Appreciate you.